Hi, I'm Tom.
And I'm Nikki.
Did you know in the UK 1 in 6 people are at risk of flooding? Over the years we've seen some of the worst flooding in this country.
This DVD will tell you how to prepare for a flood, what to do if you're flooded, and how to recover from the effects of flooding.
Being prepared will make things so much easier.
Here we are at the Wesley Fire Station in the firehouse.
Flooding can come from a variety of sources that may not be obvious or nearby.
Let's have a look at some examples.
Rivers, fluvial and reservoirs. This type of flooding occurs when a river or reservoir cannot hold the volume of water which drains into it from the surrounding land.
Surface water, pluvial. This occurs when rainfall cannot soak into the ground, overwhelming the local drains and flows across the ground.
Groundwater. Water held within permeable rocks beneath the surface of the ground is known as groundwater. This can cause flooding when the water levels within these rocks rise above the surface.
Sewerage flooding. Sewerage flooding often occurs at the same time as other types of flooding, particularly surface water flooding, and can be a result of blocked drains or the sewer network not being able to hold all the water flowing into it.
The lead local flood authorities are heavily involved with other agencies in developing contingency plans for flooding incidents. They are responsible for taking the lead in managing flood risk from local sources and where there is an interaction between these sources and main rivers.
The Environment Agency is responsible for managing flood risk from the main river.
Water companies are responsible for managing the public water and wastewater network.
Riparian owners are responsible for maintaining any watercourse which flows through their land.
All the agencies and authorities need to work together to help manage flooding, but there are also steps you can take to help prepare yourself in case of a flood.
Firstly, find out if you're at flood risk. You can see if you've been identified as being at flood risk from rivers, surface water or reservoir flooding on the Environment Agency's website. It is important to know if you're at flood risk and which types of flooding you're at risk from. Sign up to the Environment Agency's Floodline Warnings Direct service to receive free advance warning of the river flood risk.
Join a flood action group. Flood action groups are a representative voice for their community, and their aim is to work in partnership with agencies and authorities whose work involves flood risk.
Take photographs of everything: structures, appliances, furniture, etc.
Make sure you have the correct insurance cover. Please check your buildings and contents or business policy with your insurance company. We'd advise that people get buildings and contents insurance.
The Emergency Household Plan should identify and list the urgent actions in priority of value. The list should be tailored to you. Do you have the list?
Here is our plan. Our plan lists all the things you might want to consider.
What important valuables can be taken upstairs? Important valuables? How do you prevent water from entering the property? Nice, Tom. How are you going to keep warm? How should you store computers, data, photographs and memorabilia safely? Not quite. How to turn off gas and electricity supplies?
Do you know where the box with the switchy things is?
Check on your neighbours.
If you choose to stay in your home or are evacuated to a rest centre, putting together an emergency grab bag is a key way of minimising the risks and surviving the worst. Here is a list of essentials to take with you if you are evacuated to a rest centre.
Insurance documents and any other important documents, mobile phones and any chargers, children's essentials such as nappies, clothes and creams, emergency cash and credit cards, essential prescription medication, repeat prescription forms and basic clothing, for example underwear. Other things you may want to consider are insurance emergency helpline, local council and emergency service numbers, family and friends telephone numbers and local radio frequencies, a wind-up radio and wind-up torch, but if battery operated, remember to take spare batteries, camera to record damage for insurance purposes, bottled water, remember to check the use-by date, Non-perishable food items including energy and cereal bars.
You can find out more about how to make your home more resilient and products to help protect your property, i.e. doors, sandbags, alternative flooring, and even raising your wall sockets by contacting the National Flood Forum or by completing the e-learning package. Details are at the end of the film. So hopefully now you should have all the information on what to do before the flood. Now we're going to take a look at what you should do during the flood.
Usually, we should have some warning of bad weather heading our way. The news is the best way to get this information. The 3 warnings you should be aware of are flood warning, severe flood warning, and flood alert.
If you have any advance warning, move all valuables on higher ground and move any plugs or electrical wires. For the purpose of this demonstration, we'll be staying in this room to give you a real insight of what happens when floodwater enters your property.
We're keeping all valuables where they are, just to show you the true damage that can be caused during a flood.
So we're getting quite excited now because the water's about to start coming in.
It will usually start to come through the front door. Let's take a look. So you can see the water is starting to come through the carpet.
Yeah, it's going right underneath the carpet first.
And it's coming through really quickly, and it's freezing, and it kind of smells a little bit
Does
too.
it? So here we have our grab bag. This one's waterproof, which we strongly recommend everyone getting.
And it has all the crucial items that we spoke to you about earlier.
It's really important we have one of these. Remember, in the event of a flood, always keep safe, warm and dry, like we are. We're wearing our coats, nice and thick, waterproof, keeping us dry and warm.
Your first instinct might be to stop the water, but don't. Floodwater might be contaminated by sewage or infectious diseases.
Do not approach any deep standing or fast flowing water. It only takes a bit of water to make standing up very difficult.
Just 6 inches of water can sweep a 4x4 vehicle off the road.
Remember, do not play in floodwater. Objects could be floating around, you can trip, fall, which can cause serious injury.
Also use a stick to check there's no holes or sharp objects on the ground.
Hiya, Dave.
Hi Tom, hi Nikki, how's
Hiya.
it going?
We seem to be being a bit flooded, Dave.
Right, okay, I can see that. You done anything to prepare for this?
Well, we've got our grab bag all sorted.
Excellent.
So, Dave, have we done anything right, anything wrong? What can we improve on to make it better for us if we get flooded?
I think the grab pack that you've prepared is a really good idea. You've got all your valuables that you want to keep and all your documents. That's a fantastic idea. So what about the electrics? Have you done anything with those?
No.
No, we've kind of...
So what do you think might happen, water and electrics? Any ideas?
Not a good mix, I don't think, is
No,
it,
they're
Dave?
not good mix. So the best thing to do if a house starts to flood is to first off try and isolate the water and then isolate the utilities. So obviously the electrics being the first and the gas being the second.
Okay. So if I woke up one morning and we were trapped in the house, what should we do? Should we try and escape? Should we stay?
I would say if it's clear for you to get out, and I would get outside as quickly as possible, phone 999, ask for the fire service, and we would come along and hopefully save your property. Okay.
Yay.
So, Dave, we've spoken about how much water can be contaminated. We don't want to touch it, but how does water get contaminated?
Water can get contaminated in a number of different ways. If the water's coming from a river, it could be contaminated with different sorts of animals that maybe have been in the river, so that could be Wells disease that it could cause. Or there's also from the drainage system, so the waste from everyday households that could affect that as well.
Local supplies of disinfectant, brushes, dryers, generators, pumps, builders and tradesmen will run out fast. Make a full list of emergency cleaning items to get ahead of the game.
Ring your insurance company and register the claim. Your insurer will then arrange for a loss adjuster and other specialists to visit your home to assess the damage. Take photos of all your damaged possessions and one of the tide mark left on the wall once the floodwater has left. Make a note of the reading on your electricity meter. Do not turn on the electricity or gas until it has been checked by a qualified engineer. Keep on you at all times a small notebook to note who you have spoken to, their name, who they work for, what their job is, their phone number and email, date and time you spoke or saw them, and what they said.
Contamination remains even after the floodwater is gone and can even be hazardous unless simple procedures are followed.
Be careful when moving in and around property that has been flooded. Standing water and mud can hide holes, damage to structures, and sharp objects. This could include uncovered manholes and drains, or roads and paths, as well as broken bottles or glass. Beware of cuts from standing or from falling onto hidden hazards and slippery sediment. Wear protective clothes, boots and rubber gloves. Use a brush, soapy water and heavy-duty cleaner, then rinse. Make sure you wash your hands with antiseptic after cleaning up. Disinfecting also kills most mildew and moulds. Contaminated toys will need disinfecting. Mould can be a particular health hazard for babies and the elderly. Do not use petrol or diesel generators inside. Do not let children or pets onto affected grass or paved areas until cleaned. Don't let children play in floodwater. Wash all cuts and cover with waterproof plasters. Anyone receiving a puncture wound during flood recovery should have a doctor determine whether a tetanus booster is necessary. Small children, pregnant women and people with health problems should avoid floodwater and flooded areas until the cleanup is complete. However, if you do feel unwell or if you accidentally ingest mud or contaminated water and you become ill, you should consult your doctor and tell them that your house was flooded.
It is normal for flooding to turn your life upside down. It takes time and simple steps to recover. Give the National Flood Forum a call if you need any help.
When undertaking renovations, improvements or repairing flood damage, you should have a look at the e-learning package.
All these details are at the end of this DVD.
Before a flood, be prepared. Find out if you are at flood risk. Create an emergency household plan and an emergency flood kit. During a flood, stay safe. Floodwater is dangerous. Look after yourself, family and neighbours. Turn off your gas and electricity supplies. After a flood, find out from the emergency services when it is safe to re-enter your home. Ring your insurance company to register your claim. Take photos of everything. Be careful of contamination and hidden dangers.